there, my name is Hydrogen Heather, and thank you so much for joining us for today's experiment of the day. It's one of my favorites. As you know from the email you received this morning, we are doing forensic fingerprinting. And I know that when you and I as adults think about forensics, it may not go hand in hand with elementary or young students, but it actually does. You and I think of ID channel or a detective solving a scary crime, but it turns out that if you really think about it, you and I use forensics every single day. And so let me just give you a couple of examples. And I did not talk to my children off camera about this, but I'm going to ask them some questions about the forensics that I, as a mother, use in this home. So let me just ask a question, because you've all pulled this one before. When you come out of a shower after a long day of play, and I look at your fingernails, and there's dirt under your fingernails, one of you tell me, what does that tell me about your shower? Nevaeh, what does it tell me?
That you're not cleaning your hair.
That you are not washing your hair, because any woman knows that to get hair that this thick clean, you do wash your head. That if you want to get hair like this clean, you've got to do a lot of scrubbing, and it's going to take all the dirt from a good day's play out of your fingernails. So we use forensics all the time. And then this is another one that all of us mothers have used. Sometimes when I hear the water running for a suspiciously short amount of time after a restroom visit, I'll ask, hey, did you wash your hands? What do you girls answer every time?
Yes.
And then I say, okay, would I be happy if I smelled those hands?
No.
And more often than not,
Yes
somebody
and no.
spins on their heel and goes back in for a second round of real washing. So we use forensics all the time. And teachers, you do the same thing in your classrooms. So forensics is a really good and fun topic to teach elementary and even younger children. And today we're going to go especially into fingerprinting. So the experiment materials are very easy. We just need a record sheet for the fingerprints. We need a pencil for each child. And then actually we have examples of the different kind of fingerprints right in the lesson plan. So here we go. And then we're going to need some Scotch tape. So I'm going to give everybody their fingerprint collection sheet. And then here's how we are going to begin. We're going to take a pencil, and at the bottom of the sheet there is a big box. And what we want to have the children do is make a really big swath of nice heavy lead. Okay, and before I have them begin, hold on 1 second, I'm going to have you begin in just a second. Let me tell you what you're going to see, all right? What you're going to see are 3 different kinds of kiddos when we do this. First is what I call the Incredible Hulk. You're going to have one child who is just a monster going on that lead, and you get big chunks of lead and it's a mess. So we don't want that. The second thing that you're going to get is the real loosey-goosey who just gives this light little bit of lead. But here's what we need. We need a nice firm rubbing, because what we want to get from this is the ability to be able to take a finger, swipe it through the lead, and actually see the lead on our fingertips. So let's go through this first step. Everybody give me a nice swath of heavy lead, but don't be the Incredible Hulk, all right? If you need to kind of know the pressure that I'm using, look at my hand. Oh, nice work, everybody. I think you're going to be very pleased with your results. Okay, good work. So now, after we've done that, everyone can put their pencil down. We are going to take our index finger, and this is your index finger, it's your pointer finger, and let's go ahead and rub that finger until it's nice and coated with lead, okay?
Oh, wow.
Now, depending on the age of your child or your student, really the toughest part about this experiment is going to be actually getting the tape on the fingerprint, because a lot of children, when they'll rip tape, it winds up being a 10-foot long tangled mess. Or the other thing that we see a lot is that as they're getting the tape, they put a different fingerprint on it. So what we want to do is we want to get a piece of tape that we have barely touched, then we are going to put that tape right onto where the lead is. In fact, let's just go to that point. So, just for speed on the video's sake, I'm going to go ahead and give each child their own tape rather than have them rip it. Typically in the classroom, or if we were just doing this around the kitchen table off camera, I would have them rip their own tape. And little guy, I'm gonna tape yours on. Obviously, since he's only 3, I'm going to put his right on. There you go. Yeah, try not to touch too much of the tape. Very good. Savannah picked it up right at the corner so that she's not getting the wrong fingerprint on there. Now, just very gently kind of blot that a little bit. All right. And now, we're going to do this at the same time, okay? Without touching very much of that tape, I'm going to pull it off my finger, and you're going to see. Can you see your fingerprint? Oh, that is a perfect one. Okay, now, we're going to put this where it says R index, because R means right.
Second one.
The second one. All right. Okay, or if you're 3, you might just put it right down in the lead box, and that's totally fine as well. And oh my goodness, we have 5 perfect fingerprints.
And it's still,
it's still there. So of course, when you're finished with this experiment, you've got a mess. But what I typically do is when I'm doing this experiment and we're gonna do all 10 fingers, I'll just keep a wet cloth so that in between we can clean our fingers. So then what we'll wanna do is we're gonna put all 10 fingerprints on, but then is the real fun forensic part. So what we want to know is that of all the billions of people who have ever walked this planet, not one person has a fingerprint that's exactly like anybody else's. In fact, you might have picked up through these videos that I have triplets, which means their genome is almost 100% identical. However, very early on in the womb, there are little micro changes that happen as the fingerprints are being formed. So even in the case of multiples, twins, triplets, quadruplets, fingerprints are unique. And then what you'll want to have your children do as well is after they get all 10 fingerprints, have them look at each fingerprint and see which type it is. And the best question that you can ask is, okay, are all 10 of your fingers the same? Do you have 10 arches? Do you have 10 whorls? Do you have 10 tented arches? Or can your fingerprints, even on the same body, be of different types? It's a very, very powerful exercise. And what's not on your lesson plan does it smell pretty good? Okay. What's not on your lesson plan, but if you want to take this a step further and really get fun, earlier this morning while we were off camera, I'm not going to say who, but I picked a member of the family to actually pick something up to see if they left a fingerprint or to see if they would leave a fingerprint. I did not tell my girls what's going on here or why this empty glass was on the counter, but I will tell you that one heinous crime that we have in our home all the time is one of us will pour a nice drink of maybe icy soda or Gatorade or refreshing water, and then we come back and that drink is half gone. We might be able to use fingerprint forensics to solve this crime to see who the drink stealer is. So I had somebody pick up this glass and then I set it down. And now I can actually see a little bit of a fingerprint. I'm going to take just a little bit of cocoa powder, and you can experiment with this. Maybe you've got cornstarch or flour. Just take any kind of a powder. We're gonna dust it onto where I see the fingerprint. Okay, and you do not need anything fancy. Usually we use a paintbrush from one of their art kits. We couldn't even find that today, so I went and I grabbed one of my eyebrow brushes, and I'll just wash this off afterward. But what I'm doing is I'm dusting a little bit of cocoa on here. Do you see that fingerprint? I'm not going to tell you whose it is. Maybe after we get all of our fingerprints recorded, we will see who the criminal is. Okay, so now I'm going to tape.
Would it stick to the glass?
That's a really good question, but do you think I can peel it back off?
Maybe.
Let's see.
Oh, no. I was wrong. You can't.
Oh, so what we have just done is called lifting a print. So now if I want to, after we get all of the family fingerprinted, I can take the mystery print, I can compare it to our database, and I can see who the drink stealer in our family just might be. I hope that you have enjoyed forensic fingerprinting, and I'm gonna ask you a favor. If you do this with your family, I would like you to post some pictures or even tell some funny stories. Better yet, give us some stories that have happened in your house forensically or in your classroom. It's always good to hear what other people's children and students are doing, and we'll be right back here tomorrow.